Welcome back, everyone. I am Candace your rapid manifestation coach. And if you're a part of this community, you know manifesting isn't complicated, it's simple. I am all about showing you the easiest, fastest, most simple ways to manifest in the fewest amount of steps. So let's get started with today's video. Today's video is more of a I'm not really like answering a manifestation question. I'm kind of just, and I might be rambling because I haven't made a video in forever, but I'm kind of just talking about how I manifested my marriage and my specific wedding date that I wanted all in 3 months. Like, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. So I'm just kind of going to tell the story about what I did, some of the obstacles that happened in like the middle, in the meantime, and how like what I did to overcome those. So let's get started. So first, I will start by saying, yes, I did have a long-term boyfriend at the time that I started to manifest this, but I will not hear any slander, okay? Because all right, y'all go tell a guy to buy a ring, plan a proposal, propose, and then get married literally within 2 months after he proposed to you with no prior thought. Y'all go try to do that and tell me how successful you are, okay? So no slander, all right? It was still incredible. Okay, now moving on to the story. So clearly, like manifesting people, we talk about like signs. We love coincidences, like the numbers 111, 222, 333, blah blah blah. You know, we love seeing things like that. So I was just sitting home, like I don't know, just scrolling on my phone one day. It was like a date in November. I don't remember the exact one, and it was like, oh, look at all these dates for next year, right? You're gonna have 2/2/22, you're gonna have 2/2/22, you're gonna have, you know, like this day, this holiday falls on a Saturday, this one falls on a Saturday. It was just some little BuzzFeed article like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, 2/2/22/22. That's so cute. Like, I wanna get married on that date. And this was just something that like popped into my head that I'm like, oh, that would be so cute to do. Had we been talking about marriage, I mean, obviously when you're in a long-term relationship, you do speak about things like that, but nothing like, oh yeah, you know, it's going to be soon. It's going to be within this time frame. Nothing like that. So like I said, this was in November, and I immediately said, well, you know what? This is when I want to get married. Like, yes, it's just a couple of months away. I have no idea how this is going to happen, but this is what I want to happen. Now, I am divorced. I was divorced once. So I'd already been married. I'd already done like the big wedding thing. And me, from my perspective, I would not do it again. It just doesn't fit my personality to have like something big like that, all the pomp and circumstance anymore. For those who like it, like love it. I love looking at pictures of weddings, like great, you know what I mean? But just for me, I was like, if I ever did it again, I would do like a destination wedding, or, you know, just all these like micro weddings and elopements are really popular now. I was like, that's kind of more like my vibe. So it was never like a limiting factor in my mind to say, how am I going to plan a wedding in 3 months? How am I going to plan a wedding and be ready by 2/22/22? That never was a limiting belief, because I knew that my wedding like wasn't going to be that serious, that I didn't want all of that, you know, planning involved. So I immediately was like, this is when I'm getting married. And I started saying to myself, I get married on 2/22/22. Like, that's it. That was the one affirmation that I used. I get married on 2/22/22. I sometimes would say it to myself. Sometimes I would write it down. Like, I get married on 2/22/22. Like I said, I really love scripting. Like, that's just a technique that kind of makes me feel good. And it's mixes up the repetition for me. Instead of saying it, I can write it. Totally fine with that. So that was the one affirmation I used. And I probably drilled that into my head and into my mind for about a week. When I would be in the car, I would pretend like I was talking to my friend and be like, oh yeah, we're getting married on this date. Can you come? I'd be like fake inviting people to the wedding in my mind type of thing. And they'd be like, oh, that's so cute. That's such a cute date. I'd love to come. You know, like just whatever imagination, like whatever your imagination does, just let it do it. So I did that for about a week, and then I just kind of got sick of it, right? You don't want to become obsessed with something. You don't want it to like get annoying and take over your mind. That to me is letting me know like, okay, I've done my job. I believe it. And now my subconscious is telling me like, why you filled this cup up already, and now it's just overflowing. Like, you're good, you don't have to do it anymore. So once it got like super annoying to me, I no longer had to do the repetition. I no longer had to do like all the pretending. Like, that was it, that was done. Now, over the course of time, like I said, this was November, so over the next like month or so, if I ever had any thoughts about getting married, like, ugh, this is so annoying, we've been together for a while, like, when is it gonna happen? Then I would immediately start to repeat my affirmations over again. And I would just calm myself down and be like, oh, this is not an issue. I'm getting married on 2/22/22. Like, it's all good. It's going to happen. Don't have to worry about how it's going to happen. It's going to be magical. So fast forward to, and no, me and my boyfriend at the time never talked about it, right? Never talked about it. So it's not like I was like dropping hints. No, we just didn't talk about it. I didn't try to, push anything forward. I just did my affirmations and did my imagination thing, and that was it. So fast forward to Christmas Day 2021, and ta-da, he proposed. It was super cute. He did it in front of his family, and he had a whole speech prepared. Like, it was so cute. It was such a surprise. Of course, to me and not everyone else, like, they had videos of it. It was so cute. And it was funny because, Christmas is a time when all your family is around. And it was funny because literally hours later, like at Christmas dinner that day, people are like, so when are you getting married? And we're looking at them like, dude, we just got engaged. Is this something that you typically ask people as soon as it happens? Is it, we're like, give us a minute. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know when we're getting married. We're getting it on 2/22/22. So that was basically, I just kept that mindset. Like, this is already here, this huge step forward has happened. I know it's coming now. I know it's going down. So even though I was watching him as his family was asking, when are you getting married? Even though I was watching him like, oh, like, I don't know, like, da da da. Even though that was how he was behaving, like, I paid it no mind. It didn't faze me at all. The whole time I knew, like, this is what's going to happen. I'm not worried about how. We'll figure that out later. And because of his kind of reaction a little bit, I did loop through my affirmations for like a couple of days. I think maybe 2 or 3 days after, I did loop through my affirmations. Because if you notice, when you start to get close to your manifestation coming through, all of a sudden, like, you'll be doing really well. And then all of a sudden, like, these like doubts and fears and limiting beliefs start creeping up. So even though, like, we just took this huge step toward my manifestation coming true and we just gotten engaged, all of a sudden I'm like, man, what if he doesn't want to do it so soon? Or, man, how are we going to pull this off? We have to like decide who's coming, and it's going to be, what if no one's available because it's so short notice? Like, it's super close. Like, how is this going to happen? So I kind of recognized that I was trying to do too much of the control factor. When you start having these doubts and fears, it's because you're trying to control how it happens. I was deciding that these venues were going to be booked up. We wouldn't be able to use them. Like, no one told me that. I hadn't even called a venue. I was just like, what if they're all booked up? I was deciding that 2/22/22 was on a Tuesday, so none of our family could come. Oh my gosh, it's a Tuesday. Who's gonna do that? That's crazy. Like, no, I hadn't even asked anyone. No one told me that. I was deciding that. So once you recognize that you are kind of dropping into these negative thought patterns, you just have to say, wait a minute. I also decided that this is when I was getting married. I also decided that this was the job I was getting. I also decided that this was the amount of money I'm getting. I'm not going to worry about how. It's just going to happen. And it's funny because these things even happen to me. I've been manifesting for years. I've gotten so many successful manifestations, and these things still happen to me during my process for kind of big manifestations. And it's nothing, and that should kind of make you feel better that even for people who have mastered the process, it still happens to us. We just react differently when it does happen. We have more practice in settling our thoughts down, returning back to the center, returning back to the fact that we are in control. We made that decision, and then we can just move forward. So now fast forward to, like, it's just like one day in January. Like I said, we got engaged on Christmas Day. So now it's a day in January, and we're sitting on the couch, and I was like, I'm just going to say it. I'm like, hey, babe, He's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you think about, when do you want to get married? He's like, I don't know, like, hadn't thought about it. And so I said, Dad, in my mind, I was like, I'm just going to say it. And I said, well, what about this date? And he looks at me and he's like, a month from now? Because like I said, it's in January, right? He's like, a month from now, like a month and 2 weeks from now. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, whatever, like, that's fine. Let's do it. And it's like, boom. I got the ring. I got the buy-in from the future husband. Now all we have to do is set up the wedding and we are good to go. You know, from there, it was pretty much smooth sailing. I had basically determined that, you know, him saying, yes, this is when I want to do it. To me, that was like, oh, I got it. My manifestation is here. I'm good. And so from that point, I did have like some obstacles, but none of it mattered because I knew that whatever the case was, whatever was going to happen, we were going to get married on that date. This is similar to like if you are trying to get a job and maybe you didn't start the job that day, but you got the confirmation email saying, congratulations, you got the job. So even if your start date is 2 weeks from now, on that date, your manifestation is fulfilled. Maybe you're trying to get some money and it might not be in your hand, but maybe you got a notification from your bank or whoever's cutting you a check like, hey, we're going to give you this amount of money, checks on the way. So you essentially have fulfilled your manifestation. It's not like right in your hand, but you have that that relief that you got it. So basically, through all the obstacles that happened after that, nothing really mattered. Everything moved toward my goal of getting married on 2/22/22, and we did. It was so awesome. We actually ended up, because I've already been talking for so long, I'm rambling. We actually ended up, we wanted to do the Justice of the Peace. Obviously, that date was like booked out for a year in advance. So our Justice of the Peace in our county was like, sorry, we can't do it. Like everything that happened after that was just so crazy. So first we got a no from the Justice of the Peace, and we wanted to do like something cute afterward, like do a photo shoot downtown and just take our really close family, our immediate family, to dinner. That's kind of how we wanted to celebrate. Justice of the Peace said no. So it was like, that plan is out. His brother, my husband's brother who lives in Connecticut, was like, I'm an ordained minister. Let me fly down and do your ceremony. Like, what? He offered to fly down and do the whole ceremony. We didn't have to pay for a separate officiant. So then we were like, well, where is it going to be? You know, we kind of wanted to keep it low key. This super nice hotel in downtown Raleigh, which is usually like tens of thousands of dollars to get married at. They literally, I guess, you know, because it was a Tuesday afternoon, they gave us the event space. They gave us food, like chairs, tables. They give us all that stuff for next to nothing, you guys. You're talking about getting married in a downtown hotel for less than $1,000. Like, we got such a huge discount on this space at the point where we were like, where are we going to do it? We have to find somewhere cute. We can't go outside because it's February. It's cold. Literally, they emailed me like, hey, I saw you put an inquiry in on our website for a space. I never followed up with you, but just so happens, let me just give it to you for $500. Like literally, it happened like that. You know, like when I tell you manifestation is real, manifestation is real. So when we initially wanted to just go to the Justice of the Peace, because like I said, well, both of us had been married before. This is our second marriage. When we wanted to go to the Justice of the Peace, we ended up having like a full-blown wedding at the downtown Sheraton in Raleigh for like less than $1,000. Like, you guys, everything that happened after that was just so crazy. I just wanted to give you guys an example of how manifesting works and how it can work for you when you stay true to your goal, you stay committed to changing your thoughts around your goal. Like, literally anything can happen. Okay, I know I was rambling during this video. Sorry, but I hardly ever do like, you know, what am I manifesting success videos? I just wanted to give you guys one today. So, and like, hopefully it'll motivate you. So that is all for today. You guys can check out the links in the description box for any help. I have like a super duper short no fail manifesting course that just goes over like literally the bare bones basics of what you need to do to start getting what you want ASAP. It's basically just my method of manifesting. From watching videos, you can piece it together, and you know, I tell literally like the same thing all the time, but this kind of puts it in a more like step-by-step format with some tools and resources that you can use. It's only $22. I just wanted something like super quick and easy for you guys that wanted like the extra help and organization. All right, I will see you next time.